Hey guys, Marcus Melnick here with Firearm Mentor. Hope you're enjoying my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. These little things are free to you and really help the channel. I appreciate your support. Enjoy. Thank you. The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters. Greetings and welcome back to the Personal Safety Show. This is Marcus Melnick from Stress to Logic and Firearm Mentor, where we train people to remain safe, stay sharp, and train for the moment that matters. We were speaking with Richard Greenswag from Hunger Resource Network. He is the vice president, and he was telling us about an event that occurred yesterday, and that yesterday event was the Poultry to Pantries. There's going to be another one in March, and we're going to continue the conversation. I would absolutely love to participate.
It's actually a lot of fun, and you get free donuts too. So
Ooh, you just talked to a criminal justice guy about donuts.
I thought that might hit home.
Yes.
I didn't want to get too cliche with you.
No, that's called cop vitamins. Sorry, that was my joke.
Yeah,
what about the student snack program? Can you?
Well, actually, it's a student pack program.
Oh, hack. I thought it said snack. Okay.
Pack, as in packing bags.
Hack. Got it.
This was a program that was started by another very remarkable man, a guy named Henry Feta. We used to work for Kraft. He's since retired, but it's a toss-up between him and Jerry Abka as to who the most charitable people on the planet. I mean, all he seems to want to do is just help people. And we actually even had an event for this at Sunset last Sunday night. But basically what that does, as hard as this is going to believe, in Northbrook, okay, one of the most wealthy, I mean, it's not Kenilworth, I get that, but still a very wealthy bubble existing community, there are 284 students on free or reduced lunch program, okay, which means they don't have enough food, all right? So what this program does is we work with Sunset and we work through the school districts. So it's done very sort of sub rosa, but we get bags of groceries to these kids every week so that they have decent food at home. And we even do it through the summer. So far, I think the program, since it started, we have produced something like almost 4,700 bags of food, equivalent to over 37,000 meals. And we also provide something over 1,000 personal care bags, so
right, toiletries,
hygiene products, or hand lotion, or soap, or shampoo, these sorts of things. People forget that food is obviously critical, but this other stuff's critical too. I mean, there's whole organizations that do nothing but supply diapers, which is critical. Okay, this stuff that nobody thinks about, and the student pack program fills a need here in Northbrook. The biggest problem we have with it is trying to figure out how to scale it, but it's almost impossible. It's pretty much a local program, but what we would love to do is teach other organizations how to do this. So if we were approached, that would be something I know Henry would love to do, so we could spread it out that way. We don't have the personnel.
Right.
It's also, we don't have the personnel because it's almost impossible for us to do all the running around to do the food rescue, to get it to pantries and things like that on a daily or weekly basis. We don't have the people. So we try to stay in our lane. And one of the hardest things for not-for-profits to do, especially when they're run by very charitable people, is most of these people have not seen a program they didn't love. Right. And I agree with that. But to be effective, I always used to say at board meetings, when we're perfect at what we're doing now, then we can expand.
Yeah, I see that. What sort of groceries are in these bags?
Oh, well, for example, the one we just did at Sunset is a Thanksgiving-oriented one. So there's stuffing, and there's canned vegetables, and there's, all that kind of stuff. But mostly it's just food basics. It could be flour, it could be, some very few. We don't do anything that's really perishable or very much perishable because we just don't know what the timing is, and refrigeration is impossible. But stuff like that. just basic essentials. Okay.
Awesome. And there is an annual luncheon. Is there a date for this one coming up?
Yes, there is. I'm so glad you asked.
What's the date?
May 6th.
Okay.
And it starts, I think, right around 11 o'clock, and it's at Chevy Chase Country Club in Wheeling. They have been marvelous to us. On top of them being, generous and letting us do our programs there, it is a really nice facility. They've upgraded it beautifully. We have room for as many as 300 people. The food is good. The service is good. The equipment all works, and they're incredibly accommodating. So they've been a big supporter of our organization, and we're very appreciative.
And if someone plus there is also an auction. There was last year. Wasn't there?
At a fundraising auction?
Yes.
Yeah. We're not 100% sure about that. Ron Bernardi from Sunset, who is maybe the world's greatest ambassador for anybody at all times, was running it for us, and he's a marvelous auctioneer. But when you start at $40,000, you're not going to get a lot of bids. Right. But he was very effective, and once you get to the $2,000, $1,500 level, whatever it is, you start getting a lot of people stepping up, and I'm very proud of my firm because almost everybody in the firm personally donated, and then as a firm we bought an auction item, things like that. It happened to be a private chef, so we had a firm senior partners event, actually last Saturday, where we had the private chef come to the home, a guy named Shay Mikey. He does marvelous work, and he's been very generous with his time. He always puts his stuff up, and his private parties for charity events. He does it for the chamber. He does it for Hunger Resource. I'm sure there's other places. I think Saving Tiny Hearts, Penguin UPC, things like that. He's just been really, really good. And by the way, if you want a marvelous meal in your home where you're treated like a guest, he's worthwhile. I don't mean to plug everybody that I know, but he's been great. So,
no, this is about helping people. So plug
he's very good.
What's the cost of going to the luncheon? I don't know if that's established yet.
To be honest with you, I don't rightly know right off the top of my head. My firm usually buys an entire table.
Okay.
The pantries do, but there is more information on our website.
Which is?
www.hungerresourcenetwork.org.
Okay, I would recommend to our listeners to certainly check it out, and that's, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Richard, that's the pathway to get involved, to become a volunteer, to donate.
It absolutely is. And I think one of your earlier questions was, how do you tell if a charity is legit? There's actually a lot of ways. First, the first thing I would do is go to the IRS and see if they're a 501c3. Okay, so you can deduct. That means they've filed a lot of stuff. You research trusted sites. There's Charity Navigator, GuideStar, Better Business Bureau's Wise Giving Alliance, things like that. And then obviously going to the website and reviewing their events and that sort of thing. You look for, you got to watch out for, come on, pay now. Here, pay $15. Those I start to raise an eyebrow on, but there are ways to do it, and I like to think that we pass with flying colors on all those things.
Well, in my grade book, you do. That's for sure.
Thank you,
Richard. What final thoughts can you offer about Hunger Resource Network? And you're a lot more involved than I am. I'm getting more and more involved, but maybe there's something I didn't ask you that I should have asked you. The floor is yours.
Well, to be honest with you, you've been very thorough. And we, again, really appreciate it. Look, we're always looking for help in all different kinds of ways. Whenever you either get on a board or get involved in an organization, the three T's we always talk about are time, treasure, and talent. Okay? We have people on our board who, they can't afford to give a lot of money, but they put in their time, and they really are talented at what they do, and it's very helpful. We, have people who have come in to volunteer to help us write grants. Okay, help us do marketing, how to spread the word, how to talk to restaurants about maybe having little deals where Like Culver's has done this for us, and the Grill House in Northbrook have done this for, where if you mention Hunger Resource Network, they will donate 10% of your check to us. Everybody wants to hit home runs. I'm a singles and doubles guy.
Yes.
Okay? You have enough singles and doubles, you're going to be fine. But the trick is to spread the word. And that's where we probably need more help than anything. And that's why we really appreciate what you're doing today and giving us this forum to talk to people. So that's the main thing. Volunteering and helping is the main thing, because we're basically a volunteer organization. There's, as I said, we have 2 paid employees. Carrie more than her weight in her salary. She's just been marvelous, especially with grants. And Joan, I don't know how we can get along without her. And she's just part-time. So, we have very little internal overhead. And Dan Jeriabka has been incredibly generous with allowing us to store things in Action Plastics, and we run the operations out of Action Plastics. Even when we collect bags of groceries, oftentimes there are piles of them there before they're distributed to the district. So this kind of thing is probably the most important thing. Obviously, money is huge because it's what allows us to buy the chicken. It's that simple.
Terrific. Well, again, thank you very much for appearing on the show. Can you once again reshare the Hunger Resource Network website and your own law firm website? Because maybe someone really liked you and hit you off and they have a need for you. Feel free to give us both contacts.
Okay, well, I'll start with Hunger Resource Network. That's hungerresourcenetwork.org. And my law firm is Franklin, Greenflag, Channon, and Capilla, so don't try that, but it's FGCCLAW.com. And obviously, as an attorney, we love to help you with your business or any issues you're having. So thank you for that opportunity, too.
Thank you very much for appearing on the show. And to our listeners, if you'd like to get involved, please go to hungerresourcenetwork.org.
All right. Thank you very much for this opportunity. We really appreciate it.
I want my listeners to know that this is my dream, teaching people about safety. If it weren't for you, if it weren't for my listeners, I couldn't live my dream. So on behalf of my family and myself, I want to thank each and every one of you for allowing me to live my dream. And I also want to continue to live my dream, and I'm excited to continue to spread the word of safety. Recently, I began a new service as a conference keynote speaker. So if anyone would like for me to speak at future events, or if anyone knows of an introduction or would like to discuss how we can work with one another, I'd love to do just that. The keynote speaking website is www.stress2logic.com. That is STRESS2logic.com. If you're aware of any conference speaking engagements where you'd like to have me speak, I'd love an introduction. You can always share my electronic business card, which is Marcus Melnick, MarcusMelnick.com. Now, back to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, with the Thanksgiving and ultimately the Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa holiday season starting, we always want people to be safe. And that doesn't always translate to physical safety, but we want people to be comfortable. And when we're getting together for Thanksgiving or another festive meal, sometimes it becomes difficult to talk to anti-gun people during the holidays. And, hey, I can smell the cinnamon, I can taste the pumpkin spice, but I don't like to admit that because I'm a manly man. But sometimes there's family tension that's thick enough to slice with an electric carving knife. And sometimes gatherings aren't touchy enough with the average everyday grudges and secrets and misunderstandings. So add emotional and sensational and controversial topics to the mix, and basically guns create discomfort. And it could be. I've been at gatherings. This was a positive gathering where a friend of a relative basically said something like, "I hate gun owners. By the way, what do you do for a living?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a firearms instructor, and I'm sorry that you hate me, even though you just met me 30 seconds ago." And then he backtracked, and he's like, "Well, that's not what I meant. I meant I hate people who are, they carry AR-15s into Walmart." First of all, that doesn't happen around here. He was from Washington, D.C. And I get it. He's got his own opinion, but he was pretty vocal about it, and I don't get insulted, but he was pretty insulting. So we all have friends and family members who are not fans of firearms, and some are unsure, and some are misinformed. As a matter of fact, earlier in the interview, Richard said something to the effect that we're fighting perception, we're fighting misbelief, misinformation, and that's the case here. So while you're chomping on your turkey leg, how do we move forward? Well, some people aren't fans of concealed carry. There's people who are against everything having to do with firearms and maybe blinded by misinformation or social media posts or fear. So it's different in every situation, and nobody has all the answers. But after years of going to events, after years of talking, listening, teaching, and navigating these conversations myself, there are some solid suggestions. And the good news is these tools can help keep everyone safe, sane, calm, and merry. As with anything in life, planning ahead for gatherings is important. And you probably already know who in your inner circle doesn't agree with you and who might be waiting to talk turkey about gun control. Anti-gun organizations literally train their supporters for these holiday discussions, like Everytown and Moms Demand Action supporters. They encourage their members to attend online sessions about how to have difficult pro and anti-gun conversations without ruffling feathers. So it makes sense that we should prepare too, with calm, kindness, and responsibility. So if you know who might start a debate, steer clear of those one-on-one moments when you're going to be cornered, and keep conversations light. Plan distraction points, a football game, a dessert you need to check on, or some children who suddenly require adult supervision, and have a stock phrase ready, something neutral like, "This is time for family and celebration. Let's just enjoy the holiday." Consider some exit strategies. Think through quick breaks or polite reasons to step away before frustration builds. And if you must retreat for your own sanity, give yourself permission. A brief walk or breather can reset the whole evening. And it's this is going to be a little bit off color, but not completely inappropriate. You can always say, "I have to use the restroom," because nobody wants you to prove that you have diarrhea. Come in here and take a look at this. Pretty gross. It's not going to happen. So you can always say, "Oh, I'm not used to this rich food." Oh, and then hold your stomach and get an acting award and then disappear into the bathroom. And that resets the situation. It removes you from potential conflict, which every person in psychology will tell you if there's conflict, avoid it. Also, we want to keep conversations positive and avoid politics if you have people who are there who don't agree with you, who don't sit on the same side of the fence with you. And let's face it, half the country does and half the country doesn't, no matter what you believe. One of the biggest pitfalls in talking about firearms is the tendency to fall straight into politics. Just don't. Political beliefs are tied to people's identities and social circles, and research reminds us that these briefs activate parts of the brain associated with personal identity. When challenged, people typically will shut down or even become more convinced that they're right and you're wrong. So instead of engaging, focus on common interests. Bring up food, sports, memories, movies, photos. Break out something lighthearted and steer away from tough topics. The small redirections can gently steer the conversation away from conflict and towards connection. And if questions do arise, hey, keep your cool. Say something like, "Hey, I know our viewpoints differ. I don't want to argue about this." It's a boundary. It's polite. It's firm, respectful. And it's far more productive than debating someone who didn't come to the table to listen. Now, I meet people in business networking all the time, And who are you? Hey, I'm Marcus Melnick. I own Firearm Mentor. Whoa, I want nothing to do with guns. And I talk to them and I say, I get it. It's okay. You're okay to have those feelings. I don't share your feelings, which is fine. We can disagree, and my tagline is, I still love you. It's fine. It's no problem. And if you think about it, in a marriage or any kind of relationship, you're not going to agree with the other party 100% of the time. My wife and I don't agree on 100% of topics that come before us. We disagree. We agree, we disagree, doesn't matter. We still love each other, we still move on with life, and sometimes you can agree to disagree. And remember, respect works better than righteousness. This is one of those areas where honey is better than vinegar. You can be firm and unwavering in your beliefs, but you don't need to hammer anyone to get your point across. Don't patronize, belittle, or shame. That won't win hearts or minds, and it certainly won't build the bridges we need. Even if you're frustrated, take the high road. Yelling and arguing won't get you anywhere. Telling someone that they're stupid or they're uninformed or they're a jerk or whatever is basically not going to help anyone. It's going to reinforce negative stereotypes about gun owners. You can be assertive without being aggressive. You can model confidence without condescension. And surprisingly, when you're calm and respectful, others are far more inclined to listen to you and maybe even reconsider their assumptions. And there's fear behind anti-gun views. Many anti-gun people, they're not malicious or unreasonable. They're afraid. Their fear, which is called hoplophobia, is a fear of firearms that's so strong that those affected project their anxieties onto others. They believe that they themselves might lose control with a firearm, so they assume others will too. They fear that their neighbors or relatives with guns might, quote, go crazy, end quote, because the danger feels inherent to the object, not the person. Understanding this fear doesn't mean agreeing with it, but it does help us respond with empathy instead of irritation. We don't have to treat these folks as opponents. We can treat them as people. People who deserve sympathy and not scorn. And sometimes gentle exposure can ease those fears. Even one positive interaction with a responsible gun owner can start to reshape the perspective. Listen first, then respond thoughtfully. Listening is one of the most powerful tools we have. We have 2 ears, 1 mouth. So let's use the thing we have more of. When someone brings up gun control or gun safety concerns, listen to them. Don't hear them. Listen to them. Listen to the words that place blame on guns or gun owners. Hear the emotion. Listen for sensationalized phrases or misinformation so you can respond calmly and accurately. Listen to their statistics and carefully consider the sources. And look for the why behind the words. Often fear or misunderstanding drives the conversation. And when you listen, really listen, you show respect. That opens far more doors than arguing your point. Try to find even one small area of agreement. Maybe it's all that you want your children to be safe. Maybe it's that none of you want violence in your communities. Maybe it's you all believe in responsible behavior. And those shared values are a starting place. So let me give you an example. She passed away a couple years ago. Lovely, lovely cousin from my dad's generation. And she used to go shotgun shooting when she was younger, but she really didn't like handguns. She was very anti-handgun. And the reason why she was anti-handgun is her father owned, it was either a liquor store or gas station. I never met him. He passed away before I was born, but he was killed in a robbery at his retail establishment. And he'd been robbed a bunch of times, and he got himself a gun, and he was showing someone the gun in the kitchen. And my cousin was there. She was pregnant with her son, and the gun discharged. The finger was on the trigger. The gun discharged. It blew a hole in the wall next to her. And that's understandable, why she doesn't like guns. We want to share calm, clear explanations when the moment is right. If the conversation becomes productive, and only then, you can share some thoughts or rational arguments, like for banning certain guns. Prior bans didn't measurably reduce violent crime. So new bans should require strong evidence to justify them, or gun owners love their families and they want tools to protect them, or why do you need a gun like that? Because people enjoy competition shooting, because home invasions happen, because some want a last-ditch option that should society ever collapse, not because they hope it will. So we want to use positive exposure, not pressure. If someone is curious, not combative, but curious, you can gently expose them to positive firearms experiences. You can share uplifting stories or responsible gun owner examples. Leave a copy of a magazine around. Offer good information and reliable sources to counter the incorrect news, trolls, negative examples. And if they're truly open, take them to the range. Let them try a .22. Introduce reactive targets like balloons or steel. Avoid anything human-shaped or on the first visit. Make it safe, fun, positive. And you can get targets that are like battleship. You can get targets that are pool balls or billiard balls. And you can make it fun. The important thing is to know when to step away. Take a break, get fresh air, check on something, remove yourself, politely bow out. You're not going to change any minds over a slice of apple pie or pecan pie, even if it has extra whipped cream. People just don't let go of their entire belief systems because of one conversation, but they will remember how you conducted yourself. They may open their ears and their hearts. Take the high ground. Take the high road. Regardless of what you debate, you might get sucked into. You just never know how, where, or when you're going to be sharing a message with others, even when you're not saying a word. You're a gun owner for a reason, whatever that reason is, and something brought you to this all-important decision, and no one can take that from you. And ultimately, you're gathering around the holiday table in love. That love is for your family, your safety, your community, the food, and it's exactly why you carry. Maybe one day those who challenge you will understand that, but until then, continue being the responsible role model they didn't expect, but desperately need. We have monthly concealed carry license CCL classes in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Dates can be seen at firearmmentor.com/classes. If you have a question, we can be reached at www.firearmmentorcard.com. That is our electronic business card, has all of our contact information and links in it. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us. Until next time, stay safe out there, and I'll see you at the shooting range. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor signing off. The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters.